Okay, let's go ahead and get started. I will try not to talk too very long. This is such an awkward way to try and do this. But by this point, you should have finished The Great Gatsby. And for today and tomorrow, I had already put up Babylon Revisited for you. So for today and tomorrow, you're going to read Babylon Revisited, which is a short story, a later short story, by F. Scott Fitzgerald, the author of The Great Gatsby. And write a short, this is like a response paper, not like a big unit essay, but a short response paper comparing and contrasting The Great Gatsby to Babylon Revisited. Once you've read Babylon Revisited, I think you're going to find this really easy, because there are a lot of comparisons and there are also a lot of differences. A lot of people feel like Charlie is kind of who Fitzgerald thought Gatsby might become if Gatsby had survived. So that's one way to look at it. He is a different character, but in a lot of ways he's very, very similar. With our eyes on both those stories, what I want to talk about briefly, and I won't be up here more than 10 minutes or so, what I want to talk about is the American dream, which is probably a term that you've heard all your life, but probably haven't thought much about in terms of like, what does that actually mean? Everybody sort of has their own idea of what their American dream is. But in the beginning, and certainly during the modernist period, it had a very specific meaning. And The Great Gatsby is very much about the American dream. So, the tenets or the elements of the American dream. That America is a new Eden. And you see this in in colonial discussions and things like that. You see the idea that America is a new land. This promised land of beauty, unlimited resources, and endless opportunities. You see the idea of America as sort of the land of milk and honey. That's one of the tenets of the American dream, that America itself is a new Eden, someplace that Europeans could get away to, and the potential was just unlimited. The American birthright is one of ever-expanding opportunity, and progress is always good. So the idea that simply by being born in America, the future is endless, and every change will be a good one. All progress is progress to the positive. And we can optimistically expect to keep getting better and better. This idea that the sky's the limit. And the independent self-reliant individual will always triumph. Everything is possible for someone who puts his or her faith in their own potential and their own power. So, this character, this independent, self-reliant individualist, that is Gatsby, right? That's what Gatsby is in the novel. So you can make a really good argument that The Great Gatsby, the novel, challenges the very idea of the American dream. Because in The Great Gatsby, not all progress is good. The independent, self-reliant individualist doesn't triumph. And America is not a land of endless opportunity, at least not without getting yourself into a lot of trouble, right? So, those are some ideas that are good to know. I also want you to go back to your tenets of modernism and take a look at these two characters maybe as modernist heroes. And I will post, I've copied a chunk just for you to use for reference. I don't expect you to sit down and read it cover to cover, but it has sidebars that give you these tenets of the American dream and also give you the elements of modernism, so you will have that to refer to if you didn't take notes during the lecture where I did that. So you don't have to go back and rewatch that lecture. This is basically where I took my lecture notes from, and I will post that for you so you'll have it as a reference. So, does anybody have any questions? Everybody doing okay?
I'm doing great.
I'm glad to hear it, Mr. Hale. So this will encompass the next 2 days. Babylon Revisited is a short story, but it's a long one. It's about 20 pages, and you've got a little writing assignment associated with it. This is not a big assignment. It's just like a response paper length. And it should, like the ideas shouldn't be too challenging for you. It's pretty easy to look at it and see comparison and contrast between Charlie and Jay. But there will not be a lecture tomorrow. I will be in Google Meet during our class time if you have any questions or anything like that, but I'm not going to get up here and talk because you need time to read and to write. So feel free to drop in it during our class time if you have any questions. But other than that, I will ask that you be here, okay?
When is the response method?
Friday at midnight. So you've got most of the day today and all day tomorrow. Anybody else? And I'll get all that posted in Google Classroom, including this, so you can use that for reference. Okay. I miss seeing your smiling faces. And I am done with you if you are done with me. I will stay in the meet, but you are free to go. Elizabeth, do you have any questions?